everybody, my name's Elyse Explosion, and I like toys. Welcome to HisTOYry episode 3. Today we'll be focusing mainly on a very interesting phenomenon, and that is the phenomenon of the Christmas toy. While there have been many toy and collectible crazes over the past few decades, there's something special about a toy that makes parents go a little crazy over the holidays. Beanie Babies were big all year round, but there's a reason that Jingle All the Way was made specifically about a Christmas toy. What could be so important that shoppers would mob employees, riot in shopping malls, and pay astronomical scalper prices for something that may or may not have even come with batteries? This is HisTOYry, the Christmas toys.
Every year has one toy that beats the rest in sales, but not every top-selling toy leads to bloodshed. Though definitive answers are hard to find, we can pinpoint either a toy or merchandise brand that sold the best for most Christmases since the 1980s. 1980 itself brought us the Rubik's Cube, a Hungarian plastic puzzle toy popular to this day. While around 200 million cubes sold in the first 3 years of mass production, it wasn't a Christmas-only craze. 1981 was a big year for Lego, but with multiple sets and building kits available, there wasn't one specific Lego product people were beating each other up over. In 1983, we got our first taste of what a true Christmas toy craze could be with the rise of the Cabbage Patch doll. In what would be dubbed the Cabbage Patch Riots, shoppers all over the United States scrambled to get their hands on a doll, any doll, that bore creator Xavier Roberts' name. The following year was won by Transformers, with many characters to collect, meaning nobody was about to break a rib over getting their hands on Soundwave. This repeated itself several times over the next few years, with My Little Pony, Ghostbusters, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles selling well as brands on the whole, but without a specific single must-have toy to whip crowds into a frenzy. Care Bears, Teddy Ruxpin, and Koosh Balls also moved major units, but, safely. The 90s brought us the Talk Boy, which was the hottest toy of the moment due to its screen time in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. It sold out so quickly that advertising was halted for the product by Hasbro before the holiday shopping season was over. Other tech toys, including the Nintendo Game Boy and Sega Game Gear, flew off the shelves, but their price points kept them from being widely accessible to all consumers, as buying both the console and the games for it quickly added up to triple-digit price tags. When Tyco introduced Tickle-Me-Elmo in 1996 for $28.99, every American parent with a child under the age of 7 lost their damn minds. The hysteria that followed was replicated only 2 years later in 1998 with the introduction of Furby, a blinking, talking, battery-powered fuzzball with many imitators. Popular media franchises such as the Power Rangers and Pokemon made millions and millions of dollars in the decade as well, but as with TV to toy store brands like the Ninja Turtles in the past, merchandise ranged from action figures to pillowcases to macaroni shapes, which helped mitigate the situation and keep toy stores out of national crisis. If you can't get a specific Pokemon product at the old KB, you just get something else. If you can't get a Furby, well, you still have to find a way to get a Furby. So out of the 80s and 90s, 3 major players emerged that embodied the Christmas toy phenomenon: Cabbage Patch Kids, Tickle-Me-Elmo, and Furby. There is a reason they were called the Cabbage Patch Riots. Multiple reports exist of both shoppers and store employees being physically injured, including broken bones. What started out as folk art cloth dolls dubbed Little People by artist Xavier Roberts in the 70s had turned into a mass-produced plastic monster when Coleco started making and marketing the dolls. Every step of the way, Coleco manipulated supply of the product and creative advertising to build momentum. Despite being the manufacturers of several video game systems, they enlisted child psychologists to extol the virtues of soft toys over video games and electronics. These child psychologists went as far as to claim that nearly all children fantasize about being adopted, and that the adoption papers included in the box with a Cabbage Patch Kid doll would help them act out that fantasy. Coleco sent a doll to Jane Pauley, a news anchor who was pregnant at the time, in an early attempt at influencer marketing. There's no amount you can pay for a TV ad that will reach as many people as a 5-minute segment on the Today Show. Coleco had sold more than 2 million dolls before Thanksgiving, with a month left before Christmas. Independent collectible shops started buying dolls at $40 a piece, twice the initial price, from people who had managed to buy early, and consumers who couldn't find the sold-out dolls anywhere else were eager to pay the scalper's markup, whether that be $50 or $150. People camped out in front of stores overnight hoping to be the first in line in the morning for the chance at getting the doll. People flew overseas to get a doll if they thought there might be one left elsewhere. People choked and bit and punched each other over a doll that nearly everyone admitted was kinda ugly. People went to the hospital over a doll most store owners thought would fail when it was initially released. The important thing to mention here, though, is that this had never happened before. Black Friday sales in toy Crazes had never been like this before the Cabbage Patch riots, and the world was forever changed. In 1996, Rosie O'Donnell featured Tickle-Me-Elmo on her show, introducing the toy to the public at large. Tyco had sent her then 1-year-old son the doll, and another 200 to the show itself. Mentioning that her son loved it and featuring in a giveaway throughout the episode, Elmo was a star. Priced at just under $30, the innovative doll that reacted to touch with pre-recorded voice lines and exciting physical movement charmed both the target audience and their parents at a price that seemed too reasonable to be true. While people had resold Cabbage Patch Kids in the past, a little website called eBay had just started the year before Elmo hit the shelves. When the doll became harder and harder to find, people turned to resellers online for the first time. Widespread scalping of Tickle-Me-Elmo drove parents to pay hundreds of dollars for an Elmo of their own. The desperation to get an Elmo of one's own seemingly reached all walks of life, including notorious New York mobster John Gotti Jr. News reports at the time indicate that, allegedly, Gotti and 7 other adults went into a closed Toys R Us after hours and paid $8,000 for toys, including a case of Tickle-Me-Elmos. Gotti's lawyer confirmed that he did, in fact, go to a Toys R Us in Queens right before closing, stay for nearly 2 hours, spend $8,000 on toys, and that there were probably some Tickle-Me-Elmos purchased, but denied that it had anything to do with mafia sway. The manager of the Toys R Us claimed no Tickle-Me-Elmos had changed hands, especially not any Tickle-Me-Elmos that had been held for customers with rain checks. The fact that Gotti's lawyer's statement and the statement of the store manager did not match up led to rumors sweeping the country. Legally, we must say allegedly when we know someone has used mafia influence to acquire Tickle-Me-Elmos, but we cannot prove how many. Those who couldn't peruse a Toys R Us after hours were left to find other means of procuring an Elmo. Scalpers both online and in newspaper ads offered to sell Elmos for upwards of $1,000. In stores where even one Elmo could be found, chaos ensued. One Walmart employee in Canada was trampled by a crowd of shoppers who spotted him with a single Tickle-Me-Elmo. The injuries he sustained in the stampede include a torn hamstring, broken rib, and concussion, with other minor injuries to his knees and back. Shoppers even tore the crotch from his jeans. As with the Cabbage Patch riots, what seems like urban legend now is backed up by news reports at the time. People were getting hurt. Tickle-Me-Elmo mania had other effects, though. After the death of creator Jim Henson and the rise of Barney in the early 90s, Sesame Street had been in a slump for a few years. When they partnered with Tyco to produce toys, no one could have anticipated the level of success Tickle-Me-Elmo would reach, and that both the toy sales and renewed interest in the show would reinvigorate the entire Sesame Street brand. Children who had grown up during the first few seasons of the show in the late 60s and early 70s were very frequently the parents buying the Tickle-Me-Elmos for their children. Not expecting such an intense response, Tyco initially only produced 400,000 units. After selling out almost instantly on Black Friday, another 600,000 units were produced. All 1 million Elmos sold before January. They hit a sweet spot they hadn't predicted and proved that the Cabbage Patch craze was not an isolated incident. Lightning could, in fact, strike twice. 2 short years later, Furby hit the scene. Tamagotchis had been released in the US the year before, and American children were ready for electronic pets. Furby could blink, move its ears, react to a few simple commands and actions, and learn to talk over time. Not well, mind you, but its vocabulary would expand the more you played with it. Called a Gigapet, Furby built on the momentum from Tamagotchi and topped it with a pet you could actually talk to, pet, tickle, and feed that wouldn't just die if you were unable to look at it for an hour. Furby is remarkable not only because it managed to recapture some of the mania from just a few Christmases prior, but because it inspired many imitators. If you couldn't get your hands on a genuine Furby, there were countless knockoff Furbies and Furby-like toys including Wove-Loves, Chilla-Chillas, Ooglies, and Jabberwackies. Obviously, none of those were considered a good substitute and would definitely not get you any cool points on the playground. But Furby certainly ushered in a genre of toy trying to cash in on both its rampant success and utter unavailability. Others hoping to cash in on Furby's success included the ever-present scalpers, who had seen how lucrative Elmo reselling had been and wanted a piece of the action. This time, however, they were ready for it, and scalping took place on a massive scale. People flocked to newspaper classifieds looking to unload Furbies at $250 a piece, quite a markup from their initial $30 price. They took to eBay to watch the bids go up and up as people tried to get their hands on the hottest toy of the year for children, or possibly themselves. It happens. In stores, crowds turned violent and ruined displays, threatened employees, and trampled each other, and required police intervention when hundreds of people would rush to get one of 20 or 30 units. Even stores that were prepared with 120 units, like KB, sold out in minutes on Black Friday. Documented in the LA Times, CNN, and other news outlets all over the country that maintain online records going back that far, we hear contemporary tales of scalping, violence, and unhappiness surrounding Furby. Oddest among the stories are reports of US government offices, including the NSA, banning Furbies due to the belief that Furby might be able to record sound. While Furby was in no way able to do that, this led to rumors that it could, and concern from parents that the toy could somehow record their children. The 1998 Furby was unable to do so, but rumors find a way to get around. 1.8 million Furbies sold in 1998, and in the first 3 years of production, 40 million units were sold. Cunning marketing, relatively low supply for high demand, and timing seem to be the ingredients that cause a true Christmas toy craze. Furby was not the last craze of the 90s, but it was the last great Christmas craze for years. The advent of online shopping helped control crowd sizes in stores and offer a way to get your hands on a hot toy without braving an actual brick-and-mortar battlefield, and, if I'm honest, I think people just got a little burnt out. The burst of the Beanie Baby bubble and Pokemania left folks tired of the frantic craze chasing, and children had never really been in control of the toy crazes they encountered. Buying from a reseller never paid off. These toys weren't the investments people hoped they might be. We got this original Tyco Tickle-Me-Elmo for $14 on eBay, way under the initial retail price. People were burnt out on fistfights and scalpers and hysteria. Arnold Schwarzenegger made an entire movie about the phenomenon, and looking in that mirror wasn't fun. The 90s had been a time of economic prosperity in the US, and the 2000s could not have been more different. The 9/11 attacks and the wars that followed caused unexpected problems in industries like tourism, entertainment, and consumer goods. A major period of economic recession hit in the late 2000s that the global economy is still in the process of recovering from. Even if the people had the will to punch each other out for a hot new Christmas toy, the cash wasn't there the way it was in 96 and 98. It would be years before anything approaching that level of Christmas toy craze would take a hold of us as a people. Toys like Juju Pets made their attempts, but at such a low price point, the stocking stuffer hamsters stayed mostly out of trouble. Hatchimals have come the closest, with widespread scalping and unavailability, sales driven by YouTube toy channels giving free advertisement to toy companies for those sweet, sweet unboxing views. The Canada-based makers of Hatchimals, Spin Masters, cite YouTube unboxings as their inspiration for the toy itself, suggesting that a Hatchimal is like a YouTube unboxing in real life. Shopkins, LOL Dolls, Hatchimals, and many others owe their success to the crazes that came before them and the influencers who find their homes on the YouTube Kids app.
Folks, it's kind of fun to think about these toy crazes from the safe distance of 20 years, but man, people really got hurt. Bones were broken, people got concussions. John Gotti probably got like 20 Elmos. It'll be interesting to see how the Christmas toy phenomenon goes forward, especially with the advent of blind bag toys specifically catering towards the American youth market. Will parents turn to eBay to find the one LOL figure that they can't find? Maybe. I don't know. I'm seeing hair doorables for $70. Are people paying that price? Probably somewhere. But are they going to hit Christmas toy levels in the same scale that we've seen in the past? I can't say. That's for the future to tell us. Thank you guys so very much for watching. If you're interested in more episodes of HisTOYry, I will be linking the first two at the end of this video. My social media links are in the description below. If you have any Christmas toy stories that you would like to share with me, share with us, let me know down below in the comments. I'd be very eager to know if you have, did you have a Cabbage Patch of your own? Did you have You know, did you have a Furby? Tell me about them, please. If you'd like to see more from this channel, hit that little subscribe button. Click the little bell. If you want to stay in the know, the bell's the way to go. Thank you all so very much for watching. Have a very, very merry holiday season.